I'd actually just finished a radio show when I began writing the Milo and Teal series, Transmissions from the Planet Zog, a children's book series bearing that name. What was my drive? I knew information and I couldn't see it being revealed to children anywhere in the world. The nearest I got was Project Camelot and Carrie Cassidy, but here I was needing a vehicle. These are stories about recovering from trauma. These are stories about regaining our true soul worth, our true self-worth. These are stories about environmental awareness and stewardship, because everything happens within a very interesting context, this shoestring operation orphanage in northeast India. And what do these 13 children have? They have their spirits. They have this funny little English woman coming over to help them. There's a few other adults there too, of course. And then they have nature. They use these elements to improve everything. I am a mother of 3 children. I've been working creatively with children for 44 years. I was teaching performing arts, developing all kinds of skills to get the human soul activated, cultivating creativity back into the lives of every single child I worked with. And I had this weird background in environmental design. I'm a landscape architect who specialised in planning and looking after the future stewardship of the earth for our children. Loving rather than fearing nature, not being influenced by the World Economic Forum agenda manipulation, but developing a true relationship to all layers of the natural world. These were my drivers of mind and heart, and the books and radio show came out of it. I'm actually working on the 4th book currently, titled Beneath the Surface, where Milo and Teal, who started off aged 8 and 12 in the first book, are like the Indian orphans they so encouraged, now adults. Who are Milo and Teal? 2 children from the planet Zog who are really curious about how we Earth humans live. They also love to help. I first found out about them when I was a little girl. I found my way to Zog. Quick recap. Between the ages of 7 and 8, I suddenly lost the ability to walk. I was a ballet dancer. I adored ballet. I was on the track for the Royal Ballet School, but suddenly, boom, no legs, no use of them. I was bundled away into hospital for I don't know how long, pumped full of Valium. Every test imaginable done. It was horrible. I was left alone for God knows how long each day. And somehow my spirit ended up elsewhere. I took that experience and I put it into the books. The suddenly incapacitated child turns up on Zog. Finally, the whole community where Milo and Teal live get the child back to Earth. They use a dream attraction system to bring her consciousness back into her Earth body, but of course, she brings her experience on Zog with her. Just children when it happens. Milo and Teal hear about this. They are fascinated. It tickles their fancy. Planetary hotspots are detected during Milo and Teal's Earth research, places where people are slightly more awake to concepts of freedom, and they find and latch onto this girl who's now an adult woman who ends up teaching a group of orphans in India. Helping 13 orphans rehabilitate from emotional trauma, this once marooned woman helps educate them to full sovereign beings with almost zero resources. Now, that's how this story started. It's really good to write from experience, especially when it's otherworldly. Children can detect authenticity from a mile off. It turns out there's a little secret. I'm going to give you a spoiler alert. Zog is not another planet. It's just Earth in the future. And what they do, Milo and Teal, is build bridges of consciousness across to us through these points of high frequency. A few people, a few places of education. They build bridges to help the children of our Earth become their blossoming, full human potential self. The sweet Indian orphans, there are 13 of them, were rescued from terrible circumstances, from human trafficking to being left on the street with nothing. 13 backstories and 13 tales of how they regain their self-esteem, their self-love, and their self-worth. They find their passions, which eventually lead to their soul careers. With their background, without loving support, they had no way to establish roots. These were chopped off when they were mere children. This is a book that reaches towards our future Earth. As a result, it brings in information that we need to know about disclosure, intraterrestrial, extraterrestrial, our true heritage as humans. As this story unfolds, it becomes a vehicle to share that information with our children. The most leading edge environmental practices I could invent or find, they're in the books as perfectly normal. The most cutting edge emotional intelligence, natural healing, and experiential learning, work I developed over the last 25 years is all in there, lightheartedly, but it forms a template for New Earth living. These are stories for children, but parents can read it as a bedtime story. Illustrated because I love to draw and stimulate atmosphere that way. These are books for bright, curious children. No making stupid for these readers. Whether it's food, fluoride, or sadly schools and family, you know your intellectually hungry, experientially curious child is hungry. Milo and Teal, Transmissions from the Planet Zog. Book 1, Birds of a Feather. You know that phrase? Birds of a feather flock together. Book 2, Vibration Works. I like puns. Book 3, How to Transition. It's not, is that about turning from a male to a female or vice versa? No! This is a transition from phase to phase, stage to stage, frequency to frequency, and actually life to death, because death ain't death, but just something on another frequency level. There are a lot of quite heavy themes touched on in these books. As the readers get older, they're presented with more depth. Yes, I'm a Sagittarian. I'm not completely blunt, but it's there in a way to make understanding palatable for children. Children are not stupid, and it's time we treated them with deep respect. That's what these books are for. Your child's creative growth and empowerment. You may find some other ones too from my Inspiration Publishing House. I'm very excited to have this up on Shopify and my website. And finally, all of my books are in one place, and a few of my courses as well. I am Dr. Isabel, MA. This is activating your and my and the world's human potential.